Hello and welcome back to the Damon Rowan podcast. I'm Damon Rowan, and this week I'm going to be deep diving into the topic of creating the perfect morning routine for yourself so you can start off on the right foot and win the day. So creating a morning routine can obviously play a big part in deciding how well you perform and carry out action across the day, both towards your goals and life in general. So routine helps improve your health, personal growth, creative development, well-being, and ultimately it drives fulfillment and happiness through getting what you want out of the day, every day, from day to day. So morning routines are particularly useful as because of the mornings you're usually at your sharpest and you're most energetic, so it makes it easier to carry out more important and demanding tasks. And here I'm going to give you a few of the tips, techniques and strategies to help you develop a morning routine and stick to it. So the first step is to make waking up early a habit. So this is arguably the most difficult part to complete, as you naturally have less willpower when you're in bed and in the morning you don't want to get up. So the goal here is to make waking up early a fun and exciting activity, so you're more likely to actually get up out of bed. So for example, think of times you're excited before to get up early out of bed, so maybe Christmas time or going on holidays, other things like that. And notice how it took such little effort for you to get up as you were excited and you had a plan ahead of you for the day. So one tip that helped me get into this habit was to switch from watching TV and Netflix at night, and instead I watched it early in the morning instead. So that helped me get a better sleep, but also gave me something to look forward to in the mornings, and it got me that bit more motivated to actually carry this out and get out of bed. So basically the night before I'd make a to-do list on what I'd be doing for the next day, and each morning I got out of bed an hour earlier, I switched on the TV, got a cup of tea, and this helped me in getting up early and waking up in a good mood as I was organised, and I gave myself enough time to relax before starting into the task for the day. So the goal here is to make a note of the most important tasks the night before, so maybe the top 1 to 3 things you want done each day, and then find something you enjoy doing in the morning that doesn't take much effort. So for me it was watching TV, and then getting up earlier. You can actually enjoy that activity before beginning into your day. So here's just a few tips that'll make waking up earlier easier for you that you can use and hopefully helping the process work better for you. So first thing is to place alarm clocks or your phone at the other side of the room, and this will help in avoiding hitting the snooze button and lying in. And although you can still get up, hit the snooze and go back to bed, I'm guilty of this myself, you're far less likely to do that when you're already up out of bed, and it'll make it easier to repeat this habit and break the repetitive habit of staying in bed. And the next tip is knowing what you're going to be doing for the next day. So for many people, waking up early is usually motivated by purpose. So the regular purpose is that you have to go to work, but instead of this, try getting up that bit earlier before work and having an activity that excites you enough to get out of bed in the morning. For me, it's watching TV, or you can have a shower or listen to a podcast you like. That's definitely not a plug on listening to my podcast. And just basically other things that like that you know you'll enjoy, and it's just something you can practice every morning that will set you for the right mood for the day. And the last thing is drink a glass of water. So having a glass or bottle of water at your bedside the night before and drinking it first thing in the morning is kind of acting like a forceful way of getting you out of bed, as you'll likely have to use the bathroom shortly afterwards, and that'll make it easier to initially get up out of bed, and from there you can start into your day. So after considering a few of those tips on how you can get out of bed easier, the next thing we're going to look at is the basics surrounding a morning routine, so you'll get a better idea on how to structure your own routine. So a typical morning routine usually revolves around different habits and practices that help you prepare better for the day. So here are some activities you can use and implement into creating a morning routine that best sets you up for the day. So you can start off by making your bed, brushing your teeth, showering, journaling, so you can write down your daily goals, a bit of gratitude, positive affirmations that'll set you up for the day. Then you can have your breakfast, coffee or tea, tidy up and declutter after that. You can do a bit of reading, like a favourite book you have or an article you've seen, other things like that you'll set your brain start get the wheel turning for the day. You can do a bit of light stretching, so it loosen up your body and prepare for the day ahead without being so stiff and sore. You can exercise, so that wakes you up. It helps you feel good because the endorphin release and the sense of achievement you get from it. And it generally makes tasks throughout the day easier because you've already pushed yourself at the start of the day. So for an example of this, I'll just go through a typical morning routine that I might use from day to day. So at 7 a.m, wake up and make the bed. 7:15, go to the bathroom, brush teeth and shower. 7:45, do a bit of journaling. At 8 o'clock, have breakfast and tidy up. At 8:30, I can stretch and exercise a bit. And then by 9, I can start beginning into my daily tasks or go to work. So it's best to choose habits that align with your personal goals and lifestyle, and also to remember that you're not likely to be able to carry out the perfect morning routine on most days. The key is to do your best and continue to make small progress in areas each day as it'll build up and the results will compound over time. So next up, to help on defining what's most important to you in creating the best possible morning routine, I'm going to go through a list of the most common habits that you can use yourself to create the best morning routine that suits you. So first thing is learning. So choosing to learn something new each morning is a useful way of gathering new information regularly, as your mind is at its sharpest and you'll likely retain what you pick up. And this habit focuses on following your natural curiosities and intuition in what you'd like to know more about. And this can also be an inspiring thing, as you'll likely enjoy what you're learning and have a more productive day as a natural byproduct of that. So the more you practice this, you'll want to cultivate a want for knowledge and then develop a greater understanding on a number of different topics that you're reading or learning every morning, and this ties strongly into personal development and growth. So learning can be done through a number of different formats, such as reading, listening to a podcast, watching videos, and choose the one that suits you best and rotate between them. Keep the learning experience exciting, fun, and something you'll continually want to practice every morning. So the next practice after that is self-knowledge or journaling. It can be done through journaling. So there's a great quote by Aristotle in that knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom, or Socrates, to find yourself, think for yourself. So journaling is a key way of getting to know yourself, as it develops self-knowledge, self-discovery, and essentially self-mastery. So at its base, this activity is essentially allowing you to externalize your thoughts, feelings, and other important aspects that determine how you carry yourself from day to day. So it enables you to recognize different thought patterns and behavior patterns, perceptions, observations, and perspectives you have about you and the world around you. And by putting them onto paper or into notes on your phone or whatever have you, you have physical evidence on what goes on with you internally, and you can use this information to develop a better understanding of yourself, your natural tendencies, your different strengths and weaknesses, and how you can use this information to better align with yourself, your wants, your needs, and your goals. So practicing journaling regularly can help you on reflecting why you think or feel a certain way, why you do certain things, and why you react the way you do to things. So this is useful in identifying beliefs and perceptions you have about yourself, particularly if you carry out a similar thought or behaviour patterns consistently. And here you can assess, examine, and take action on different aspects of your life that lead to bigger improvements along the way. So for example, some people have a dependency on eating a lot of comfort foods after feeling or thinking negatively in a certain way or at a certain time of day, like maybe after coming home from work after a stressful day. But if you can identify why you feel this way through journaling and putting it down on paper, then you can take action in actively preventing that destructive behaviour, as you've now made it aware to yourself and the thought or behaviour pattern behind that habit, and then you can recognise it when it's about to happen and stop yourself from doing it. And so the next practice you can try is mindfulness in the form of gratitude or affirmations. So it's a great quote by William Shakespeare in that there is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. And that definitely holds true in that establishing a mindset of gratitude is going to help your mood and general outlook on your day-to-day life. So this is a very deep topic that can be subjective to your own experience. So I encourage you that you learn more about this in your own time. But for here, I'm just going to explain it in simplified terms for the sake of convenience, as it's only a podcast. But essentially, gratitude has been proven to have a large influence over how you perceive your reality and view the world. So for example, if you believe that most things in life are scarce and that everyone or everything is out to get you, your perception is likely going to mirror that back onto you and make you your reality. So instead, if you choose to be grateful for what you have and believe in that you have enough, then this is going to allow you to enjoy your experiences and the things you do have all the more. So this also ties into how present you are in the moment. So for example, if you're always worried about the past or anxious about the future, then you likely won't appreciate and enjoy what you're experiencing in the present, and that's going to ruin a lot of things for you. So practicing and establishing gratitude enables you to be more centered and less influenced by certain thought patterns and emotional triggers, and you'll be more likely to find yourself in states of joy, happiness, and bliss, even when you're experiencing negative emotions such as self-doubt or fear or loneliness and things like that. You can still be in a state of gratitude because you're learning more about what those emotions are teaching you about yourself, your personality, and other natural tendencies. So to practice gratitude, you have to intentionally remember to take time to sit down and write these things out. So I say this because most people, like myself included at times, we naturally don't take time to think about what we're grateful for on a regular basis, so we likely won't remember it if we keep it in our head. So when you take time to sit down and write it out, it forces you to think about things and make observations. Now with that said, you have to ensure that you're engaged in what you're thinking of and writing down so that you'll actually appreciate the process and get better at it over time and using it to benefit and improve your mood on a daily basis. So this doesn't have to be overly complicated, and it'll only take about 5 minutes or less of your time to do each day, or most days if you only want to do it 4 or 5 days a week. So for example, today I wrote down I'm grateful for my comfy bed, I'm grateful for the warm weather that we're having at the moment, and I'm grateful for the nice meal that I had this morning. So you can appreciate how obvious these things are. But that said, it still serves as a point of reference that allows me to be in a better mood each day, and I can guarantee that you'll benefit from it from trying it out consistently. So the next habit I want to move on to for you can practice in the morning is exercise. So exercising and moving your body in the morning is one of the most beneficial habits to build into your morning routine. Now some people like to do light exercises like stretching, walking or yoga in the mornings, while others might prefer more intense exercise like weights training, HIIT and running. So the type of exercise that you do doesn't really matter. It depends on personal preference, and you should try to pick something out that suits your ability, as it'll be more fun and engaging and will likely keep you at it. So the focus isn't placed so much on how hard you work, but rather just use it as an outlet to get your body moving. So exercising also helps with improving your energy levels and mood as you release endorphins and feel better as a result throughout the day, while you also have that sense of achievement having done a workout in the morning or something small like exercise. And the key thing to consider is not to do too much in the morning, as you don't want to strain yourself or burn out before the day even begins. So pick something that you're okay with and enjoy it and doing it on a regular basis. And the last practice I want to move on to is clarity and mindset, and you can do this through meditation. So you probably noticed I'm focusing heavily on building a positive mindset for the day in a lot of the practices I'm mentioning. And this is because setting yourself up right in the mornings is going to compound the value and progress you can get out of every day. And that's essentially going to help you enjoy life more and be more fulfilled as a person because of all you're getting done. So one of the best things about waking up early is that mornings are peaceful and quiet, so you're up and awake before most people and have a chance to get a head start on the day. So things like meditation or breathing exercises and even just sitting down in silence are a great way of practicing stillness. So this is going to help set the tempo for the day and can change how you react to certain things as you're naturally more in tune with yourself. So for example, waking up just in time to head to work and rushing through getting dressed and having breakfast can set you off wrong for the day because you began the day in a stressful, high-paced environment, and that's not giving yourself enough time to think or prepare correctly for the day. And this is going to affect your mood negatively, probably across the day. So instead of that, give yourself a bit more time in the mornings to practice a bit of mindfulness and a bit of meditation, so it'll help set you up better for the day. Now, there's a lot of resources that provide more in-depth explanations into meditation, its benefits, and the surrounding topics that I'll mention next. However, the primary message that you want to take from this is that meditation and other forms of mindfulness practices are one of the best ways in regulating your mood, thoughts, perception, and other general aspects that influence your mindset. So here's just some resources to work on improving your mindfulness, and they're books like The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, Mindfulness in Plain English by Bant Henepola. I definitely butchered that name, so I'll just leave them in the podcast notes so you can find them yourself. Phone apps like Headspace or Calm are also excellent resources as they provide guides and other tools to help you practice mindfulness and meditation. And that pretty much covers all the habits that I want to cover in improving your morning routine. The list of habits I've provided are some of the most common activities and habits people choose to include in their morning routine. However, with that said, by no means do you have to use all of them or even any of them, as they're only suggestions. The idea of having a morning routine is that you can allocate a certain amount of time each day to develop and improve yourself while also setting yourself up right for the day. So try to pick activities and habits that are directly relevant to you and your goals and work on carrying them out consistently to help improve your quality of life from day to day. So the next thing you want to be doing is deciding what habits you want to do in the mornings. So here you'll be working on what habits you want to do and how much time you're willing to spend on carrying these habits out. So for example, say you want to read each morning, say that takes 20 minutes. So after you want to do that, you want to journal, and that maybe takes 5 to 10 minutes depending on how much you're writing. And then you want to exercise by taking a walk, so maybe that takes about 30 minutes. So start by writing these out the night before and how long you'll think you'll spend on each one. And the next thing is to make sure that you have your alarm set so that you can get up and give the intended time to each activity. And this bit of pre-planning is going to go a long way in that you have a physical copy of your to-do list, and it removes a lot of the time and effort it takes to carry these out. So as opposed to maybe thinking of your routine off the top of your head. And the side note is that phone apps like Seconds, AM Routine, and Habit Now are also useful tools in helping you stick to your routine and carrying out your action plan. So I'll leave those in the podcast notes as well, and you can see them. And the final thing I want to go through is a bit of homework that you can be doing yourself. So I'll leave that in the podcast notes if you want to go through it, but I'll just mention it out here if you want to just listen along. So here I'll be discussing the actions and practices for you to use yourself in creating the ideal morning routine to suit you and to help develop yourself. So I'll also include some other general advice and ideas that you can use as an added help. First thing is to come up with a primary focus. So this is just a short message you can create for yourself in what you're doing for your morning routine and what it's about and why you're doing it. So that'll enable your day and routine to be purpose driven. And here's some examples. So say my focus today is to learn and develop new skills, or you could say something like my focus will be to build and maintain positive habits, have a sense of accomplishment and a clear idea of what my goal or purpose is. Or maybe you could say my focus is to appreciate simpler things and be happy with the idea that less is more. And these are just good ideas that you can print out or put on a sticky note somewhere that you'll see every morning, and this helps to remind you to drive the message home on why you're doing what you're doing and it's why it's worthwhile to do so. So this becomes particularly valuable and comes in handy when you're tired or bored of doing the things that you're doing in your morning routine and you know the value behind keeping those things up. And the next thing you can try if you like to keep a bit of variety to your morning routines is to decide on a theme each day. So while morning routines should mostly consist of doing the same thing each day so that you'll get better at them over time, You can also introduce different themes to practice on different days to keep your ideas and actions fresh and inspiring. So here's an example. So for Mondays, you can do a bit of a bucket list day. So you can do one thing that helps you towards one of your bucket list ideas on Mondays. And on Tuesdays, it can be a learning day. So you can spend time learning about a topic or a new skill that you want to develop. And on Wednesdays, you can have an exercise day. So you spend your morning focusing on getting an exercise routine in place and doing that and carrying that out. On Thursdays, you can do a cleaning day, so that can be like decluttering and cleaning up your workspace or bedroom or your home in general. And on Fridays can be a fun day, so you can spend free time doing something that you really enjoy doing, just for a bit of recreation. And if this idea of themes appeals to you, then set aside 30 to 60 minutes in your morning routine so that you can spend time focusing on this theme each day it comes up and make meaningful progress towards that. So this allows you to do something unique each day and allows you for regular switch-ups in your routine, which can be sometimes more appealing than working on the same habits every day. And the next thing is to write down your routine in detail. So once you decided on your habits, your activities, and what you're going to be doing each morning, the next thing you're going to want to do is to write it down into a structured and detailed plan so you can print it out and that you remember what you're doing and why you're doing it. So you can print this out, or you can enter it into phone apps like Seconds or Habit Now. So here you'll be able to view it in detail instead of just thinking about it from memory, and this makes it easier to stick to as you won't have to think hard about carrying out the habits and they nearly occur automatically. So make sure that you continually ensure that these habits are aligning with your goals and what you want to achieve on a regular basis so that you get the best out of them. And the last thing I want to go over in relation to morning routines is overcoming challenges relating to your routine. So while it's important to have an understanding and structured approach to your morning routine, it's also important to recognize and account for some of the challenges and difficulties you'll likely encounter when trying to implement your routine. So this is where you'll have to rely on things such as knowing the night before what you want or what you're going to be doing the next morning, placing your alarm clock at the other side of the room so that you can wake up and get out of bed, having a glass of water at your bedside, and that can also be another thing to get you out of bed. And then having these things prepared and in place helps by taking much of the thinking out you're carrying out your morning routine, and it'll become automatic habits as you do them naturally over time. And other challenges could be like the quality of sleep you get and to ensure that you're getting the right amount. Another challenge attached to sleeping is that if you go to bed thinking that you'll be dead tired in the morning, then you'll likely wake up in that state of mind. However, if you decide to try to get the best quality of sleep that you can possible, while also thinking of all the things that you're going to be doing the next day, it'll give you a better energy to actually start the day in that process, and it'll become easier. Another challenge when beginning a new morning routine is that waking up early will naturally leave you feeling tired for the first while, but usually after a while you begin to adjust by going to bed earlier and sleep earlier. So try to keep the time that you get up each morning the same and consistent as possible, and the rest will usually follow afterwards by reverse engineering it, and you'll fall asleep and go to bed earlier. Another common challenge is considering how you getting up earlier will affect the people you live with, so be it family, your spouse, children, parents, roommates, and so on. Good communication here is key so that you know what others are doing and what your new schedule is going to do in affecting them. So if you come to agreement where it doesn't affect others too much, you should be fine. And other challenges could be things like having young children that wake you up in the middle of the night and affect your sleep. While in some cases you might be able to work through this, other times it's okay to remember that you don't necessarily need to wake up early to carry out your morning routine, and that you can do the routine anytime you wake up, as soon as you wake up, and the beginning of your day can be how and when you want it, any way you want it, so just try to aim for doing your best in that regard. Another challenge that people often encounter is that they don't have enough time to do what they want to do in the mornings because they have other obligations. However, they'd still really be able to like to carry out a morning routine of some sort. So a suggestion here is to try push yourself, communicate with others that can help accommodate that, and try to make a way of working around it. And if you find that it's still too difficult to get the things you want done, just remember that the mantra is to make progress, not perfection, and that you can still get a lot of the things done over time by spending the little time you do have each day to do different activities and habits, and your routine doesn't have to be perfect. Now, other challenges include maybe lacking mental clarity due to brain fog and or morning grogginess, and this is when you're only waking up and you still feel half asleep, so this is entirely normal. Everyone goes through this, and it's important to recognise that you don't have to push yourself to work at full capacity when you're experiencing this. Just go through the motions of simpler activities in your routine across the morning, and you'll begin to gradually wake up, and once you wake up more fully and be prepared to carry out more complex tasks, then you can move on to those. So like anything, this becomes easier the more you practice it and familiarise yourself with it, and then it'll become easier over time. And my final recommendation is that you have a friend or partner that you can do this all with, or find out their routines and what they like to do and work off one another in learning what to improve upon. It doesn't necessarily need to be someone you live with. Even if you just message a friend to check if you're both up and getting your morning routines in place, that creates a certain amount of accountability and drives for motivation to continue carrying it out. And this is going to go a long way in helping you stay on track and improving your health and lifestyle as a result. So that's pretty much everything that I have to cover on morning routines and creating the perfect one for you. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to give it a like, and if you know anyone else that might get value from it, make sure to share it, and I'd really appreciate that. And I'll catch you next week for another podcast episode. Thanks for listening. Bye.